Hey everyone, I'm Eric Grant. Welcome to the first episode of the EG Brief. I'm here with AEON Jones of Avia Media Group. Thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for letting me shoot in your amazing man cave / office / HQ. This place is stunning.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on as your first guest, man. I'm thrilled to be here.
So if you don't mind, let's just jump into it. How did your Air Force background lead you to start Avia Media?
I don't think it did. It was the photography. I always wanted to make a living with my photography. I've loved it forever. I've always identified myself as a photographer since, teenage years, and just wanted to make money from my camera. It's an expensive hobby. You spend thousands and thousands of dollars on camera and lenses and software and computers and hardware, and it gets expensive. And when you start to get good at it, you start to think, okay, well, I'm way better than average. I should be able to monetize this so I can at least pay for the gear that I love and then maybe make a living doing it. And then, I tried every single photography profession there was. I shot weddings, I shot dogs, portraits. I never shot babies or food or cars. I tried travel. My big thing was fine art, landscape photography. And I failed in all those businesses. But failure is an amazing teacher. And I thought the last photography thing I was doing before real estate media was fine art landscapes. I was on the fine art circuits, trying to sell $2,000 prints.
Wow.
And I was selling a few here and there, having like $8,000-$10,000 weekends, but it'd be like one weekend out of 4, and when your overhead is 60%, like you can't make a living doing that. So it was time for a change, and I saw an ad for like this drone convention. It was relatively affordable. It was here in Vegas. So I went to it, and they were saying, I was thinking maybe I can use drones to get a different perspective on the landscape and start, that could be like my new niche. And it turned out that they were kind of pushing like, okay, if you want to make money, this is how you do it. And real estate is like the low-hanging fruit to make money with your drones. And I was like, oh, okay. And then there was something about the business-to-business business model that after all the years of failure and everything I've read and everything I've learned, clicked. And 6 years later, we celebrate 6 years next month, and I think we're one of the top dominators of the market here in Vegas. And that business to business model really has done everything. So it wasn't so much the Air Force, it's just the love of photography.
That's amazing. 6 years of anything is quite a long time to just stick around, let alone start dominating the industry. And
trying, yeah. Market domination is definitely the goal.
Right. So I think the next two questions are actually kind of combined. What is the top Air Force value that you use in your value today? And it ties into the next one, which is, why is delivering projects on time so crucial for you?
Yeah, so that's an easy answer. Integrity. Integrity is one of the core values of the Air Force. It's one of our core values. I've been in Vegas almost 20 years, and it was really, really interesting to me when I first moved here that you could be like in your garage with a water softener needing serviced, with an appointment on the calendar and money in your hand, and they would ghost you. No call, no show, no nothing. And like, what the heck? So, that's just one example, and it's rife in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
So I just was like, well, if all I have to do is show up when I say I'm going to show up and do the job I say I'm going to do, we're going to dominate. So, yeah, integrity is the first component of that. And then the second component, it's industry standard to have next day turnaround. I think with some of the AI tools coming out for people in my industry, I think by the end of next year, same day turnaround.
Wow.
We can turn around a project in about 2 hours right now for photography. But it's not perfect.
Right.
It's not quite there. So, we're looking at it. We're leaning into it. We have not fully leveraged it yet.
Sure, but 2 hours for even an imperfect product to have that turnaround just because you need an emergency service is a very mission critical thing.
Yeah, if it's an emergency, we can definitely turn around and be like, hey, it's got to be good enough. We definitely don't want to deliver good enough. We want to deliver to the same standard every single time. But you've heard the saying, good, cheap, fast, pick two.
Right.
In real estate photography, it's got to be all three, unfortunately. Right. And then, the next day turnaround, I know the pressures that listing agents have, right? When they're in a listing appointment, they get the person to sign that dotted line for the listing agreement. the clock starts ticking right then.
Oh yeah.
So if it's a 90-day agreement, like, if you push photography a week out, now you have 1 week less of marketing, and marketing is everything. So that's why the immediate turnaround is so important.
Oh yeah, it's time to lead. It's really difficult, and I really appreciate the way that you do it. It's genuinely mind blowing. The not only the integrity, but just the ability to have someone reliable show up and do it. That kind of leads us into the next question, which is why did you come up with hype reels? How did that happen? I don't see anyone else in the Vegas market leaning so much into hype reels.
Yeah, so social media is, I heard a statistic, I haven't verified it, I believe it, and it's over 80% of conversations around real estate begin on social media now. So the odds of you finding a client, whether it's a warm or hot lead, is 80% chance that it's going to begin on social media. So recognizing the importance of where those leads are coming from, I'm not just a media guy. Like, I'm actually looking at your industry a lot and paying very close attention. And if that's where people are getting the attention, we need to keep their attention on that platform. And, like it or not, everybody's got their face in this thing.
Right.
I mean, I don't care if you got $100 or if you got $1 billion. This is where you're looking. And the truth of the matter is, you're looking at one of 4 platforms. It's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or TikTok. I mean, that's really it.
Right.
So you got to create something that's going to get someone's attention and keep them not only in your reel, but on your feed and on that platform.
Right. And I think what you're doing is absolutely amazing. I know that I've taken advantage of multiple of these opportunities. That's actually how we officially met, which kind of goes into how do you approach real estate versus luxury brands, because the way that you make the videos is kind of reminiscent of high-end luxury more than just simple real estate. You turn it into a genuine art form.
Yeah, thanks. I think it's definitely an underappreciated skill. So I'm a photographer. I'm not a videographer. Like,
Sure.
terms. I am now.
Right.
But, my core is close to 30 years, 35 years of photography. Video is kind of a new thing for me, and it's genuinely interesting. But so when I started a media company for real estate, I took realtors out to coffee, and I asked them, like, what's the big pebble in your shoe? What's your biggest pain point? What can I help you with? And overwhelmingly, the answer I got was, well, the photographer doesn't do video, the video guy doesn't do drone, the drone guy doesn't do 360 tours. So I have to, if I really want to market a home and use everything, I have to call 4 people, arrange 4 schedules, and pay 4 invoices.
Right.
And I said, well, that sounds like a pain in the ass. So how about I do everything? So I didn't do video. So I hired a guy. And I learned a lot of lessons from that relationship. Not hard lessons, right? Those are often the best.
Sure.
So then after that relationship ended, I spent thousands of dollars and a lot of time learning how to make really cinematic real estate videos. And that's kind of what brought us here. So it was not enough for me to be the person just to create these. I had to create the system for my company so I could teach this skill set to my team so that I could send them out to a property and they'll handle it the same way I do.
Right.
That was really the hard part. And it seems like almost a bigger challenge is getting clients to trust that they don't need me. But I'm pretty unavailable anymore. A lot of demands on my time. So I just tell them, it's like, trust the process. If we screw it up, we'll make it right. Because, we're a customer service business. Photography is a product, but
Trust me, trust the team.
Trust the team, trust the process. And I've had a couple of clients, I'll admit, they learned the hard way. They're like, it's got to be you. It's like, look, if it's not me, because I'm not available, and you're going to hire someone else, what's the difference between someone else or someone else within my company using my systems, my editors, my retouchers? Right. And that was a hard lesson for a couple of people, but they learned the lesson, and now we got them.
I mean, thank God.
They're the best clients.
And I'm sure. So you've basically mastered your industry so much that you've started teaching CE classes.
Yeah. There's and I'm building that little pillar of my business as well. It's There's so much about what we do that provides value to realtors, and the statistics really is what motivated me to do it. So Lee Barrett, former president of LVR, he asked me years ago, I was sponsoring a CE class that he was teaching, co-sponsoring a CE class he was teaching, and he said, we went to lunch, and he said, I want you to create a 1-hour CE class on photography. So I was like, all right, sounds interesting. So I dove in, and in the research, I found that 75% of real estate agents and 93% of brokers consider photography essential or extremely important, but only 35% of realtors were using us. That to me was the biggest differentiator between what a realtor can do for themselves is to hire a professional photographer to shoot their listing. If they want to level up and get above their competition, all you have to do is hire like our company,
right?
Or any, we have 50 competitors in this town, right? There's a lot to choose from. Just hire a pro, and you will do better business. And then another statistic I found is that realtors who outsource their listing photography earn twice as much commission on average than realtors who don't.
Yeah, that blew my mind when I first heard it.
That's crazy. And it's sad that I've seen like $6 million listings in Southern Highlands shot poorly with a cell phone. And the cell phone's an amazing tool. It doesn't replace what the editors and retouchers can do.
Right. No, I've seen some really interesting photos, especially nowadays. A few weeks ago, pre-finishing of the construction, cell phone shot, floor's not even in, and they're like, "No, that's good enough. Send it."
Good enough, yeah.
I don't know. Like anyone in my industry would basically say, "What are you doing?" And anyone in your industry would say, "Guys, come on."
Yeah, I definitely think that there's room for all of us to do better. Coming from a military background, one of my personal core values that I kind of push onto the team. It's not written into our business core values, but it's good enough isn't. It's like, when we get an agent on camera, if I know for a fact that some people in my position, media pros, will show up to a shoot and they've got the thing in their head like, well, I'm the gear person. I'm just going to do the filming and make sure the exposure and audio are right, and the editors will put it together. I think they're lacking a huge component in the customer service side of things, which is direction. Right. So, like, when I'm filming an agent on camera, if they don't get it right, I make them do it again. Like we just did a client up at Crown Mesa. We're going to be doing a Brokers Open tomorrow for that place. You've already RSVP'd to it.
Yep.
We did 17 takes on the closer because she couldn't get it right. But it was a closer we wanted to do. So if it takes 17 takes, it takes 17 takes. I'm not going to say, yeah, good enough.
It takes as long as it takes.
Exactly. It's got to be right, not close.
Right. So leaning more into that, any tips for agents that get nervous on camera?
Yeah, keep it simple. And really, it's just do it and don't stop. The number one thing I would say is use a professional microphone, because bad audio will kill good video and people will swipe away from it. I've seen high producing real estate agents, and filming with a cell phone is fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's an amazing tool. But they'll put the cell phone on a tripod and they'll walk across the street in front of the house and they don't have a mic on them.
Right.
And the wind will be raking across the microphone on the phone and you can't hear or understand them. And they still post it. It's horrible. I don't understand that. So number one tip would be, use microphone. That's number one.
Very inexpensive tip.
Yeah. And number two, just get on and go, like as you level up, so will the quality of your production.
Right.
But I think there's 3 pillars of social media content that realtors should be leveraging. The first pillar is really easy. It's when you get a listing, you call us or another pro in town and get professional photos, video, 360, floor plans, whatever of your property. The second one is get professional media of your brand, right? So this is, your professional headshot. This is professionally produced video, what do you call them? Community highlight or spotlight tours, things like that, right? And that's important because it shows that you're willing to invest in your brand. It shows people who are watching that you give a shit about your brand.
Right.
A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. But the third pillar, which is the cheapest, but also the most intimidating, is getting on your cell phone, doing these selfie videos, but being authentic and vulnerable. Like, everybody knows that Instagram is full of the six-pack ab, perfect body blondes on the beach, right? And that's an idealized life. Well, people can't really connect to that because most people aren't that.
Right.
So if you can get online and provide value and be authentic and be vulnerable, be human, that's relatable. Someone out there who's watching your feed will connect with something from that third pillar and pre-qualify you as the realtor they're going to work with it when they need to get into a transaction.
Right. Are there any trends that you've noticed that everyone is doing in media right now?
Yeah, it's a good question. Right now, the big trend is what a peer of mine in California calls the whooshy videos. And we do it too because it's trendy. Agents want it. It's a fast-moving speed ramp video, and the agent's on camera and they blink out a screen. It's got the subtitles behind them. That's a trend. I'm talking recently with a good client who's in the luxury market. She's saying that everyone is doing these videos because everyone wants these videos because they are trendy and fun. So she actually wants to kind of go more back to basics and get into story. And I think that's kind of a genius play because as cool as the whooshy stuff is and as fun as it is, I think that story is a trend that will never die because it should always be unique to the home.
Right.
So each home is going to be different. So each story should be different. And now you get into how complex or interesting can you make your stories.
Right.
And that's where it starts to get fun, especially for video, is now we're really leaning into our creative powers.
Right.
So that's the trend I see coming. Maybe right, maybe wrong. I don't know.
I think you're right. People are really just aching to engage with something. They don't want a 5-second clip anymore. We're past the days of Vine and the ADD attention span of 6 seconds. Okay, here's a house buy.
Yeah,
And
maybe. Our brains are hardwired with 40 million years of storytelling
Right.
as how we pass down knowledge, right? So story I think is more important than people realize.
Right, and I mean, we still watch movies. I mean, look at how many billions and billions of dollars we spend. So we haven't really gone away from it, but now we're just going into more authentic, more human-based stories. So you can go into someone's house and actually say, okay, well, you can see the architecture was inspired. You can see the decor was inspired, and that really does help convey a story. Mm-hmm. And with your abilities, I'm very excited to see how that's going to look.
Yeah, our biggest, unfortunately, our biggest pushback on a lot of our storytelling is budget. I appreciate that everyone has a budget, but
Right.
for us to really produce something that's killer, it takes more money than most people want to spend.
Right. But for a property that's $6 million and above, it's a lot easier to justify it because you're getting that paid back on the back end. What most people don't realize about realtors is they have to front the cost. Mm-hmm. So even if the house doesn't sell, you're not going to go after someone for $5,000 because you're going to burn a bridge.
Right.
Like, God forbid, especially at the luxury price point, you just seem like you're begging for $1, and that's not really good. Can you share a client story that shows what Avia Media does best?
Yeah, we just had an example. A young lady in Berkshire Hathaway. The average days on market for a house right now is 69 days.
Right.
Right. We just went out, shot Twilight, on Wednesday or Thursday, because we had weather last
Right.
week, so a lot of things got pushed and stacked up. So I actually went out and did the Twilight. One of my team, Ethan, he did the daytime photos. She went live after the Twilight was delivered the next day, and 69 days on market is our average. She was under contract in 3 days, and this is a $750,000 house.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's one example. She actually also leveraged our marketing kit. We've got this kick-ass suite of tools for listings. Even clients who are not ours can purchase this marketing kit
Wow.
to enhance their listing. It includes single property websites, branded and unbranded, and 15, 18 PDF flyer templates, and over 60 social media tools, including Reels, and 4 slideshow videos.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's huge. And we sell it for $100.
That's it?
So yeah, so if somebody else, for example, this young lady, she had somebody else photograph the property because she wasn't aware of us yet.
Sure.
But she got the marketing kit, and she ended up posting one of those reels to her social media and she double-ended a deal.
Wow.
And that was like an $800,000 property.
That's amazing.
Yeah. If you just go to our reviews, we're the highest and best rated media company on Google Business in Las Vegas. It's all 5 stars. And so our reputation is out there.
Sure. So let's say someone wants to find you. How do we find you? How do we connect?
Yeah, I spend most of my time on Instagram. So avia.media.group or aviamediagroup.com is our website. We got a Facebook page as well. I run a private Facebook group called Las Vegas Real Estate Rebels. We've got 500 or 600 members in there. We really do a lot to promote new listings, open houses, brokers opens that we co-host, things like that. Avia Media Group. Just Google it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time and inviting me into your place, your sanctuary. I just wish you nothing but success because, my God, the amount of love you're putting into the real estate industry and everything is crazy. And the whole concept of rising tide raises all boats is just phenomenal, and I wholeheartedly agree.
I'm a big believer in this. This is a big foundation of the CE class. Well, I'm confident teaching the CE class will bring me more business. What's more important to me is getting that 35% of realtors using photographers, professional photographers, higher, because there's literally no losers in this situation. No. The homeowners win because statistically there's shorter days on market and higher asking prices or higher selling prices. The realtor wins because now they have professional media, and the photographer wins. So when more realtors start using more photographers, and they'll start using more photographers because they'll understand, be taught why they should, like you said, when the tide comes in, all ships rise.
Right.
Some of my competitors are going to get more business, but again, there's nobody loses in that.
No. And price point does dictate quality. That is what I learned. Like, you offer a premium package, but you also offer a premium result. Whereas someone that's offering something for, let's say, 10% of the cost, you're getting something completely oversaturated. It's completely blown out. It looks like a 5-year-old took it and then oversaturated on an iPhone. Yeah,
and that's something that a lot of people make the mistake with my company. They're like, oh, you're a luxury brand, and I'm actually not a luxury brand. I consider Avia Media Group a quality brand.
Right.
We approach a $250,000 condo the same way we approach a $10 million home. The same. Again, I knew when hiring people and training people, I couldn't teach them to look at houses the way I do, so I created a set of systems, and we all shoot to those same systems. So it's just the quality.
I get that, and I can completely appreciate it. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you, man.